Big Idea, 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern, CNBC tonight.
A Georgia man under the first federally ordered quarantine in more than 40 years tonight, infected with an extremely dangerous form of TB, tuberculosis. And this is after taking 2 transatlantic flights, possibly infecting other travelers earlier this month. And we've told you the survival rate on this particular form of TB can be 50%. He was on the no-fly list, and he knew he was. So does the superbug highlight security threats for the U.S. and will fears about infection spread to the markets? All right, joining us now is the chair of the House Homeland Security Committee, Representative Bennie Thompson, Democrat from Mississippi. He's going to be holding a full committee hearing on this matter on Wednesday, June 6th. But Congressman Thompson, let me just begin. This man, Andrew Speaker, knew he had this form of TB. He was in Italy. He was contacted by U.S. government officials, and they said, you're infectious, people could die, don't get on a plane, we'll get you home. He gets on a plane, and somehow people are saying he didn't break the law and this person shouldn't go to jail. I mean, this is unbelievably offensive.
Well, I think one of the things we want to look at the committee hearing next week is to make sure that all the protocols were followed. We're concerned that even though a notice was put out, that this individual was able to get back into the country. Unstopped and in constant communication with authorities. So we need to make sure that whatever our systems that we have in place, that those systems work. And in this instance, they did not work.
Congressman Thompson, would you agree with this analogy? Someone who knows they have HIV has sex with someone without a condom and then says, oh, it's not my fault that you got HIV. I didn't knowingly potentially kill you. Is that analogy fair?
Well, I understand that analogy, but what we're looking here is whether or not CDC, in communication with DHS, whether or not all those protocols were followed. And then we need to see what went wrong. One of the things we want to look at is how can we improve it? Did the officials in Italy, were they notified? Were they said, keep this person until we can get someone there? We're not sure. So what we want to do from an oversight perspective on our committee is make sure that our systems work. I'm concerned that somebody with this dangerous a disease can just go around the world and virtually be unstopped. Get to a border, the computer says you shouldn't travel, and he's allowed to come into the country. We go to New York, our U.S. Marshals pick him up at the hospital that we asked him to go to. So there are still a lot of things with this that we have to work on. I'm concerned about it, a lot of other people. And at the end, we hope to get the facts, the truth out.
Congressman, there seems to be 2 issues at play here, right? One is whether the CDC should have tried to quarantine him in Italy. I think the other one is clearly a security issue. If this guy can run around the world with tuberculosis, what can a terrorist do, frankly? I don't know if you had heard yet, but apparently the father-in-law of Andrew Speaker actually works at the CDC in the tuberculosis unit. And I'm curious if you plan to be investigating whether he had any role in this. I'm curious whether Mr. Speaker called up his father-in-law and said, can I travel?
Well, I think part of what we can do in the public forum at the hearing is do that. There will be some classified hearings on that very specific subject. And if, in fact, in a classified setting, certain things come out that say things were illegal, then obviously we will take care of it. But at this point, some of the information we won't be able to share with the public. But I can assure you our goal is to get to the bottom of it. If this person should not have been traveling, as we understand that to be the case, then we want to know how was he able to leave the country, how was he able to get back. We knew where he was, why we didn't intersect him in Italy and prevent him from coming back to this country, and we knew him. The issue for us is what happens if someone who we are not sure of is trying to come to this country and can get in. We knew where this gentleman happened to be. We had all the phone numbers, and yet and still he was allowed to come back into the country unstopped, and that should not be.
What does this say about border control in a broader sense? Your committee is obviously designated to be dealing with Homeland Security, and clearly this tuberculosis issue is one thing, but terrorism is another. And what does it say about where we really are at this point?
Well, to say that there are still enough vulnerabilities. Our systems are only as good as the people who manage those systems. Our communication is only as good as the people who operate the communication system. I'm very concerned about this. I can assure you we'll work on it as diligently as possible. But at the end of the day, we'll just have to let the facts speak for themselves. After the hearing, after the classified briefings, we'll move forward on it. I'm happy that we now know where the gentleman is. He's in Denver getting the best of care. We need to identify all those persons on the plane that he came in contact with. All those things we have to do while also trying to get what systems failed in this process.
Congressman Thompson, we both appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And I just want to get a chance, Andrew, to talk to you for one more second about this. All right. Andrew Speaker, he said, quote, "I'm a very well-educated, successful, intelligent person. This is insane to me that I have an armed guard outside my door when I've cooperated with everything other than the whole solitary confinement in Italy thing."
I'm not sure he's any of those things.
Exactly.
And he happens to be a lawyer. I think he should probably bear the cost, frankly, of all of the work that's going to have to go on for the next several weeks to try to find all of these people. I mean, forget about whether it's illegal or not. Just think about the cost. We're a Wall Street kind of show here. This is an enormous kind of cost that's going to take place over the next several weeks and months as they try to find all these people, quarantine them, test them, the stuff that's going to go on in Washington. This is
the least he could do.
Some humility. As
a non-intelligent, non-successful, non-well-educated person. All right. Look, no, I know we're laughing, but nonetheless, very serious matter and one that we got very excited about. We're going to take a break, but on the other side.